Hey guys, this is Lisa with your weekly Lyrical Aspirations Inspirational Message. So, today I want to talk to you guys about the most beautiful word that has ever been spoken in our world, and that is love. Now, Stephen Hayes, he once said that love isn't everything, it's the only thing. And the reason why I chose this topic today is just because of that statement. Because truth be told is we all, whether we admit it or not, we all crave love just like the air in which we breathe. And so what I want to talk about today is how we can not only love ourselves a little bit more and a little bit better, but how we can love others in our lives and in our world just a little bit harder and a little bit stronger than we did the day before. So let's get started. How can we first love ourselves? We must start with ourselves because if we don't learn a love for ourselves, we're not going to make it, guys, in the in the journey of loving other people. You have to first learn love for yourself. So how do you do that? Well, I'm going to give you guys 5 things that you can start to do. And if you start to do those things, you will start to grow and increase that love that you have for yourself. So the first thing that you must do, you must understand that your failures, they are only building blocks. They do not have to be spiritual bricks. I'm going to say that one more time. The failures or what you perceive to be a failure in your life is but a learning block, a building block. It does not have to be a spiritual brick. And what I mean by a spiritual brick is, guys, we do so much damage to ourselves with the thoughts that we have about ourselves. That self criticism that we are kind of plagued with as humans, that can really start to become really heavy. And so, if every time that you think that you have failed at something, if you immediately kind of attack yourself, become ashamed of yourself because you didn't get to that point where you wanted to get to, every time that you do that, you're throwing a brick down. And eventually, you're going to put too many bricks in your spiritual foundation that you will not be able to move. And so, understand failures. They're just helping you get to a higher self, to a higher level of who you can really be. That's why they are building blocks. They are blocks in which you can climb on top of and rise up, but do not make them spiritual bricks. The next thing that you must do, this one is a tough one, and I realize that it's tough. This is something that we have to work on a regular basis, and that is you must learn you. You must learn who you really are, why you think the way you do, why you feel the way you do. If you are not able to truly evaluate who you are as a person and who you are as a soul, then the truth is that one, you're never going to be able to go out into the world and show them exactly why you deserve love. You must know you. In addition, in order to truly love you, you must understand all of the things that make up you. We all have good and bad feelings and thoughts and experiences inside of us. Learn them, become intimate with them. These are the things that you have been through that are developing you. They're making you who you are. So you must take that time every single day to really look at who you are, self reflect, and really start to understand where you are coming from when it comes to dealing with yourself. The next thing that you do, and it really kind of goes along with learning who you are, is you must set clear boundaries for yourself and for others. Now, setting a boundary doesn't have to be ridiculous. What I mean by setting a boundary is, are you going to accept people in your life that are disrespectful to you in the way in which they speak and treat you? No, probably not. So why would you allow yourself to treat you like that? When you set a boundary, you set that boundary for everybody. Don't set one boundary for you and a separate boundary for everybody else. Understand where your boundaries lie and hold yourself and the people in your life to them. But in order to understand what are those boundaries, you got to first learn who you are so that you understand these are certain things that I'm not able to tolerate. And here's just an example. Let's say that you grew up in a home environment that was filled with a lot of arguing, screaming, hollering, not listening to each other, talking over each other. Well, you might set a boundary in your life that you're not going to allow people to be disrespectful in that manner to you. That's a boundary that you've set for the external world. But is that a boundary that you're holding true to yourself? So again, know your boundaries, both with yourself and with others. Establish them, be clear about them. Let the people in your life know what those boundaries are and make sure that you stick by them. Next thing that you have to do, oh man, this one, I think that a lot of us think that we are doing this effectively, but I'm here to let you know that you might be able to do it a little bit better. And that is, we must self evaluate regularly and adjust as needed. Now, when I say self evaluate, I'm not talking about thinking about the things that you do amazingly only. I do think that you should think about the things that you do amazing. I do think that you should think about what your strengths are so that you can build on them and you can grow from them. But part of self evaluation is also looking at your weaknesses or your opportunities and being honest with yourself about it. If you know that every single time that people try to talk to you about whatever they're going through, that you continuously cut them off, that is self evaluation. That's understanding that this is a character flaw that I have, that I cut people off when they're talking, or maybe I don't fulfill my own thoughts. Maybe I start a thought, but I never really complete it. So I don't actually go forward with it. These are things that within self evaluation, you are able to pinpoint and you can actually start to improve on. So self evaluation is one of the most important things that you'll ever do for yourself. Why? Because whether or not we want to acknowledge this on a regular basis, we are growing and learning every single day. It may not feel like it. It's sort of like when your children are growing up and you see them every single day, but somebody else only sees them once a year, right? They're going to immediately see that your children have grown in height, but you may not see it because you're so intimate with it, right? You're so close to it. And that's why it's important to do a self evaluation, an honest self evaluation, is because you are growing and evolving into a different person on a regular basis. Now, are you the same person at the core? Absolutely. But we are changing and evolving as people. And so we must self evaluate regularly. The last thing that we'd have to do in order to love ourselves a little bit more, and I get it, this is another one of those things that's just easier said than done, and that is that we must be open and accepting of constructive feedback and criticism. So many times we get defensive when somebody is trying to give us feedback. But here's what I want you to understand. One, just because somebody is giving you feedback doesn't mean that you have to accept it. But two, even if you don't accept it, at least try to think about it and look at it from the view in which that person speaking to you is coming from. And taking that time to learn how to accept feedback and how to accept constructive criticism just tells yourself that you are willing to grow and learn and develop and be stronger than you were the day before. So now we've talked about how we love ourselves a little bit more. So let's just talk about the 5 things that we can do to start loving other people in our lives and in our world just a tad bit more and just a tad bit harder than we did before. So the first thing that you have to do, this one is quite a challenge for me sometimes, and that is that you must be patient with others. You must accept and acknowledge that not everybody is at the same place in their life that you either are at or that you think they should be at. And so as we go through our lives, we need to be patient with the fact that everybody's on a journey. Everybody is learning, everybody is growing. And so when you start to become patient with others, you start to understand that they're not you, they don't think like you, but that doesn't mean that what they think and what they feel is not valuable. And so when we start to become impatient with people, we start to not be able to identify the valuable components that those people bring to our lives. So be patient with others. And also, you can be patient with yourself. Now, the next thing that we can do to love a little bit harder is we have to take an active stand today to say that I will not project onto other people. And what I mean by that is we all go through stuff in life. We all kind of hit the bottom. Maybe we get close to the bottom, but we feel low. When we project out onto other people, there's a bit of an unfairness in that because that particular individual, when we project on them, they are getting ready to get emotions and feelings that one, they did not ask for, they did not solicit. And two, it's probably going to be something that they don't fully understand. So you may cause this level of confusion or disruption in another person for absolutely no reason. So again, people are not responsible in your life for everything that's going on inside of you. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed today, and when you go into work, you got this attitude, you're talking to everybody with a nasty tone in your voice and everything, you are projecting and you are going to affect those people. They're going to think and feel less valued. They're going to think that you do not even care about their feelings because all you care about is yours. You want everybody to feel what you're feeling. If you're in pain, you want everybody to feel pain. That's projecting. It's not fair to do that to others, and it definitely does not demonstrate love for them. So stop projecting on people. Now, the next thing that we've got to do, oh man, this one is tough because our anger and our frustration and our feelings, they can get the better of us because emotionality equals irrationality. But we must not engage in tit for tat behavior. You know, a vindictive mindset, the moment that you think a vindictive thought is the very moment that you just took 10 steps backwards from loving yourself. Lowering yourself to another person's level when they are at a lower vibration than you are. What I mean by that is they are operating at a lower level vibration, so they are maybe hurting you, maybe hurting people around. It does not teach them, it does not help you feel better by you turning around and doing something negative to them. It does not help the situation at all. If anything, you will show more love and compassion for the people that have done you wrong when you are able to truly love them, even if it's loving them from a distance. But when you take that higher ground, what you do for those people in your lives is you let them know that a higher ground exists. Now, whether or not they want to step up to that higher ground is completely on them, but you must not engage in vindictive behavior and, well, you did this to me, so now I'm going to do that to you. That is lowering the vibration of your spiritual vibration. Now, the next thing that we have to do is stop being so defensive when there is something that you don't agree with or that you don't understand. Take the time to truly communicate why it is that you feel a little bit defensive so that you can get past defensiveness. When you put up barriers around people, the one thing that you are letting them know is that maybe I don't love you that much. Maybe I just don't care about you that much because I am going to keep you on the outside of these barriers that I've set up, these defenses that I've put up, these defensive walls that exist. I'm going to keep you behind them. And so we must be very open to the way that somebody else is feeling. You don't have to agree with somebody in order to understand their side. So stop taking what people say to you as completely personal and then being defensive about it. And the last thing that we can do as we go through this world interacting with each other is we we've got to make sure that we are not forcing our opinions or our beliefs on somebody else. The minute that you try to force your belief or your opinion on somebody else is the minute that you tell that person that their belief or their opinion doesn't matter, only yours does. So do not take this stance of like my way or the highway, because that's very demeaning to the people that may mean something in your life. They may be very important to you in your life. And by treating them that way, you are definitely not giving them the feeling that they are important to you. So do not take your opinions and get angry because somebody else does not follow them or believe in them. Now, I know I went through quite a lot of things, but I really want us to really start loving each other more with everything that is going on in our nation, the unrest, the violence, and the peace that is being requested. All of these things are going to require love. They're going to require not only love for ourselves, but love for each other. If we love ourselves, we operate in a different way. And our nation right now, guys, our nation is finally speaking and being heard in a way that we have not experienced, at least not in my lifetime. So I want us to really start to raise our vibration within ourselves. And the only way to raise that vibration is to really learn how to accept love for ourselves and how to give love to others. That is the only way, guys, that we are going to be able to grow and develop as humans, and then on a smaller scale as Americans. So, with that said, guys, I want you to go out here. I want you to start loving each other more, even if that just means smiling at a stranger that you don't even know. It's still giving out a level of love. But go out here, guys, raise up your vibration. Start to love a little bit harder and a little bit better than you did before. Go out here, make this an amazing week, and make sure that you come back and check me out next week.